Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Siki and today I'm going to tell you guys how I lost 90 pounds. Alright, so yeah, we're just going to get right into the video because I have like a whole notebook. The whole thing isn't full of weight loss tips obviously, but like I have everything written out, okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, it was not a quick thing. Okay, it wasn't like, oh, like I did this little diet and I lost 90 pounds. It wasn't like, oh, I started running and I lost 90. No, or like I lost 90 pounds in like 4 months. No, this took me a long time. This took me over the course of 4 years. And it was like slow, steady, healthy weight loss that I am still very, very proud of and I'm very like content with. Okay, because I've been able to keep the weight off. But anyways, so yeah, so my whole life I was fat. Like, you know how like some people like they start off small and then like they have like a growth spurt, like they go off to college or something and they gain a ton of weight. That was not me. My whole life I've been fat. Like I remember, well, I don't remember, but my mom told me like by the time I was 2 years old, I weighed 50 pounds. So like I remember like being like little, like, you know, 5, 6, 7 years old in the doctor's office and they'd be like, sweetheart, like you need to watch your eating habits, like you need to be conscious of what you're eating, etc., etc. And I just didn't care. Like my mom would always tell me like, you need to watch what you eat too much to be a little girl. And I'd be like, at 11 years old, you know those in-school weigh-ins like that you have where like they weigh you and then they like check you for scoliosis or something and they make you like go like this to see if you have scoliosis? Well, we had one of those and I was 11. I was in 6th grade, or maybe I was in 5th grade. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But I was 11 years old. I remember this, right? So I'm like in the little like line to be weighed with my friends, and I'm like looking at the scale as my friends get weighed and we're like talking and like looking at the scale, talking and looking at the scale, right? I get on the scale. It's because I'm looking at my friends, you know, and at this point I knew I was fat. It wasn't a big deal. I was aware that I was bigger than my friends, but it was at this moment that I realized like the severity of my obesity. So, you know, I'm in line with my friends to be weighed and like we're like laughing and like looking. I'm looking, okay, 70 pounds, okay, 80 pounds, okay, 75 pounds, okay, 85 pounds. You know, I'm just looking, right? And then I go and I get on the scale. Yeah, I get on the scale, okay, at 11 years old, no taller than like 5'4", and I weigh 183 pounds. I had no words because I knew I was big, but I didn't know I was 100 pounds bigger than my friend's big bro. So like, and like right now, I weigh less than that now. I started thinking, I'm like, maybe I'll go on a diet, like maybe I'll do whatever, you know, these people are telling me to do. And then I was like, no, I'll just avoid the scale at all costs. I just won't weigh myself. Like I felt bad after weighing myself. It's not that I need to lose weight, I just need to avoid the scale. So anyway, so fast forward 4 years, okay, I'm 15 years old and we had another in-school weigh-in, right? And what happened? Right, so we had our in-school weigh-in. I get on the scale this time. Okay, I'm 15. This is 4 years later, right? I weighed 250 pounds. At that point, I was like, all right, I need to stop getting on scales, bro. Like, I need to stop doing this to myself because this is really tragic. Like this is really, I don't like this feeling. Like it's funny talking about it now because somebody else would have said like, okay, I need to stop eating so much. I need to stop, you know, I need to start being more active. I was just like, I need to stop weighing myself. Every time I get on a scale, I feel bad about myself. Like, so 16, the next year, I started getting really, really serious about theater. Like really, really serious. Like I'm like, okay, I'm about to go to school for theater. Like I know for a fact in musical theater, right? So I started dancing, and at this point, like, we danced. I went to an art school, so we danced like during the day, like as part of our classes in the theater program. But I started taking classes outside of theater at 16. So I mean, excuse me, outside of school at 16. So I started dancing at the studio, at this dance studio, obviously. And I'm just like, I'm like so nervous to go there because I'm like, I'm fat as hell. Like, what if the teacher, I hadn't danced before, like outside of school, but I knew dance culture. I knew how obesity was viewed in the dance world, and how like girls who weren't even anywhere near obese were like, you know, they had a hard time if they were big, right? So I'm nervous to go to a dance studio. Anyways, I go to the dance studio. I fall in love with dance. To this day, I love dancing. Seriously, to this day, like, I want to take class again because I just had such a beautiful time at that studio. But I believe it was the next year. I don't remember exactly. But while I was dancing, like when I started dancing, I started getting in. I mean, like, I couldn't take a class without getting an injury. And so it would be something small, like I would move a little bit and then my knee would be messed up. I would do one thing that everybody else was just, they were fine doing it. My knee would mess up, my ankle would give me problems. Like, my knees and ankles started giving me some serious problems when I started dancing. So my mom was like, look, you wanna know why your knees and ankles are giving you a problem? Because you're too big. She was like, either stop dancing or lose some weight, because you can't do both. And she was right, because my body was getting to the point where it literally couldn't maintain. My body couldn't take all that weight. And so basically, yeah, so my body at this point was like, girl, between the weight and between you dancing, she was like, this is just too much. So we had an evaluation at the studio, and that was when like the teachers would just like tell you your progress or whatever, what they thought about you moving forward, etc., etc. So I sit with my dance teachers. I love them both, right? And she says, Siki, I want to talk about your weight. At this point, everything was good. Everything was good. You know, we love having you in class, da 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 da. You know, and I'm sitting there like, ooh, yeah, I love hearing this, you know. And she said, I want to talk about your weight. And I'm just like, and she's like, I want to talk about your weight. She's like, because, she's like, I think it's something, what did she say? I can't remember exactly. But she essentially said, you're a great dancer, but whenever you start making progress, you can't really sustain it. And I'm listening. I'm like, okay. And she goes, she said, and that's because of your weight. She says, because you can do everything everybody else can do. She said, except at a certain point, your body's taking so much impact because you're holding double the weight that you end up getting an injury. She said, you're doing double the work. And it was like, when she said you're doing double the work, it was like those words echoed in my head. All I heard was like, double the work. I'm not even kidding. And I'm like, and it was like in the movies, like a montage of things started coming to my head. All those times where we would be at the bar, right? And my friends would be like, they weren't chilling necessarily, but they would be okay. I would be like, woo! I'd be like, this warm up, I'm hot. Like, this is a warm up, but I'm really hot. You know, I remember I thought of that time where like my friend was like, oh my gosh, look at you sweating, girl. Like, and I was like, why is nobody else sweating? Like, you know, I started to really like realize like I'm doing double the work and making half the progress, because every time I make progress, I end up getting an injury, right? So anyways, at that point, and then she said this, she goes, I'm not gonna say you have to lose weight, because you don't have to lose weight. She said, just focus on strengthening and conditioning. That way your joints can actually sustain the impact. And I was like, okay. And so I leave the evaluation, right? As I'm leaving, I think to myself, you know what? I need to lose weight. And it's so funny to me because my whole life, people were telling me, you need to lose weight. You need to watch your eating habits. You need to do this. And I was like, no, I really don't. Like, I'm actually thriving. Like, mind your business. I'm doing great. And I was like, you know, I'm super overweight, telling me, you need to lose weight. And I'm just like, no. And then this woman says, I'm not gonna say you have to lose weight because you don't. And I go, you know what? I need to lose weight. I don't know what type of reverse psychology she was using. I don't know if it was just the fact that like I could tell that like she genuinely cared. Leave that evaluation with a new resolve to lose weight, okay? And there's something about me where if I make my mind up to do it, it's going to get done, okay? It's like when I put my mind to something, I am a force. I can do anything I put my mind to. So my first thought is what a lot of people think. I need to lose weight. So I instantly say, you know what? I'm gonna cut out all my carbs. At this point, because I had like kind of dibbled and dabbled in things after that. I think I was 17 when we had that evaluation. I was 17, 18. It was either like the beginning of senior year. I think it was the beginning of senior year. But anyways, so yeah, so by the time I graduated high school, I was like, all right, I need to get this weight off. I want to get it off quick because I knew I wanted to go to school for musical theater, and I did not want to, well, no, at this point I knew I was going to school for musical theater, and I did not want to have to deal with a bunch of injuries. That was not something that I wanted because I had been dealing with injuries at this point for too long, right? Seriously, it was like every other day, knee pain, you know, in and out of some days I would wake up and I couldn't even walk. So I knew I didn't want to deal with that when I went to college. So I dedicated the summer and I set out a semester and like the fall to losing weight. So my first thought is, you know what? I gotta lose weight. I'm cutting out carbs and I'm gonna do insanity. Like the Shaun T thing, like super intense workouts, right? So I did that for 2 weeks, okay? 0 out of 10 would not recommend. Now the workouts, I probably should try them now, you know. That might be a cool video. But anyways, but they're not something you just jump into. Like those are some intense workouts. And then cutting out carbs, horrible idea. That was a horrible idea. I had like no energy. I felt horrible. And I remember I had an emotional breakdown. Yeah, I had an emotional breakdown over like a piece of fried chicken or like, I don't even know what it was, but I had this like big emotional breakdown and my mom was like, Siki, you've cut too much food out. She's like, you have to do things slowly. You don't just cut everything. And I was just like, I'm miserable. I was like, I'm so dramatic. I was crying. It was a mess. So then I was like, well, you know what? This is not healthy. Like, having an emotional breakdown over food isn't healthy. I need to readjust everything. So at that point, I just adjusted my my perspective. I adjusted my goals. I said, instead of obsessing over my weight, right, and getting a little bit crazy, I'm going to take a step back. And I realized that my weight was simply a symptom of me being unhealthy. So if I instead focus on healthy practices, right, then I'll end up losing weight, right? I really just like adjusted my thought process, right? And I didn't like, and I think that even at that young age, I understood how toxic stress was. And when I started doing the insanity and when I cut out all my carbs, even though it was for a short period of time, I noticed that I was very neurotic about food. Like I was like, almost like I was a bit crazy. Like I was getting off to a really, really bad start. So I went back, I said, I'm gonna focus on just being healthy. So I literally went on Google and I Googled how to be healthy. And it was like, do 30 minutes of cardio, eat healthy whole foods. It said, get a lot of sleep. So I started like just literally doing those things. I wake up every morning at 6 and I would take a 30-minute walk, okay? I would go grocery shopping and like I Googled like healthy whole foods and I found this website called 100 days of whole foods. And it was this family that like dedicated their lives, or like they said that like they were gonna dedicate the next year or something to like eating like, you know, minimally processed and like whole foods. And they lost like 10 pounds, but that wasn't their goal. But like they just wanted to like just be healthier people. But yeah, so I found their website and they had all these different recipes and stuff. So I just like did what they did basically. I started eating healthy whole foods, and by that I mean like at that point I was still eating meat and dairy. So like a lunch for me would be so like a day of eating for me would be like toast and some peanut butter with like some banana, and then with like the banana on top. Oh my gosh, that was before I was allergic to peanut butter. Wow. And then for lunch I would have like celery, maybe like some chicken, some mozzarella cheese. It would be like, you know those little lunch boxes that they have at Starbucks, and they have like a boiled egg and like some peanut butter. It would be kind of like that vibe, like a bunch of snacks, but like in a box and like a Tupperware. And it was like a nice amount of food. It wasn't like you know, like a little bit of food. It was substantial. And then for dinner, I would do like a turkey burger. Yeah, because I was in like, my family and I were in like a turkey burger phase at that point. So yeah, so I would do like a turkey burger with like some veggies, okay? And so that was like a full day of eating. And then I was also very, very, very serious about getting 8 hours of sleep. Oh my gosh. I felt amazing. I felt so good. I felt like it was such a beautiful time because I was just well rested, and I would like get up in the morning and I would take my walk outside, and like I would walk really early at like 6 a.m. and like the sun would be rising and the birds would be chirping, and like it was just beautiful. It really was. And like I live in like a rural area, so like there would be like deer out. It was just a beautiful time. And while like all this was happening, right, I wasn't focused on my weight. I wasn't like sitting there like, oh my gosh, I weigh 7 ounces less, not a pound. You know, I wasn't stressed out. I was just like living life. And funny enough, I started losing weight.